Hi, I'm Sara Fawkes. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and I have a master's degree in counseling psychology. I was recently asked to make a series of 3 brief videos providing suggestions on how parents and educators in schools might be able to better support kids in coping with all the changes and stresses related to the current pandemic. So today is video 1 of 3, and I'm going to briefly talk about one specific factor that can be helpful and pretty simple to do. That is to frame the topic differently or to broaden the view of the current situation a little bit. Let me explain what I mean. So, what tends to be discussed and written about in regards to the pandemic is, of course, the cases and the deaths and the inconveniences we're experiencing daily, the uncertainty people feel. And of course, these are present, and it's important for parents to validate that this is sad and maybe even scary for their child. So I'm certainly not encouraging you to minimize these realities. However, there is more to the story we're living at the moment. There's hope, and there's goodness, and there's a joint humanity or universality to all of this. And it can be really helpful to highlight these aspects from time to time instead of only focusing on the difficulties. So I'm going to share the 3 specific frames or ways to expand our perspective and how to share this with our kids in a little bit more detail. So 1, that we're part of something greater than ourselves and we're not alone in this. We can easily make this point by talking to kids about the fact that around the world, other children are also doing some of the same things as them, keeping a distance, wearing a mask, that millions of people are also doing their part to protect others. With a teen, this could involve an in-depth discussion at the dinner table or when you're on a drive, and they would probably have a lot to contribute. Whereas with the younger kids, you could keep this brief, give them some information while you're showing them different countries on a map. There's also a really cute slideshow on CNN with photos of younger kids going about their daily lives wearing masks that I think can make this point in kind of a sweet and interesting way for them. I'll attach a link down below if you want to check it out. Now, number 2, and this is really important, we can start to broaden that frame by instilling hope. This can be done just by regularly voicing expectations that, today's restrictions, they're not the new normal. They're a temporary situation, one that we are going to move through and move beyond. So for example, you could talk about what you're most likely to remember about this time period once it's passed, and what you're most looking forward to about returning to normal life. Along the same lines, maybe you can find a creative way to do this. Maybe it's involving them in making a collage of the past year or a scrapbook where they can write memories and captions and add photos of all of the sort of strange and crazy things that happened. This is just a simple, creative way that serves to reassure them that soon this will be a memory, something that they'll be looking back upon. I know some of you parents and teachers are much more crafty and creative than me, so please feel free to put your own spin on this idea. And I'd love to hear about what you end up doing, what you come up with. Okay, the last and final frame, and my favorite, is to highlight the good. If you are a client or patient of mine, you can end the video right here because you know this stuff really well. For those of you that don't, what I mean by highlight the good is just to look for opportunities to point out what's going well, what is good. For example, the number of people contributing to the health efforts around the world, the medical workers caring for the sick, the scientists and researchers working to develop treatments, and of course, the people who were kind enough to volunteer to be part of vaccine trials to help determine the most effective and safest ones. You could discuss the good qualities these individuals shown, their kindness, their bravery, their interest in the common good. Another way that you can instill hope is to regularly read and share good news about COVID. Now, if you don't see a lot of these, don't worry, they're easy to find. try searching the words positive COVID story or happy COVID story in your web browser. There are many examples of amazing teamwork across countries, inspiring displays of kindness and creativity, and just of people making the best of a difficult time. These are really inspiring and uplifting, which will then reduce feelings of hopelessness, increase hope, and as a side bonus, they're great role modeling too. Now, maybe they could be motivated to be part of the good themselves. I know kids have been making masks and shields to help out their communities. Others have expressed gratitude by, making signs to thank essential workers and hospital staff. Doing something to help, and it doesn't matter how small, doing something to help increases feelings of well-being, and it also increases our feelings of control, which reduces stress. So challenge them, and maybe yourself too, to come up with something to help or to cheer up a friend, a relative, or neighbor. That's it for today. Those were a few ideas for expanding that perception, that frame. I hope you found something helpful here. I also want to thank CTK School for sponsoring this video and allowing me to also share it more broadly. If you'd like to watch the next two, subscribe down below, and please feel free to share if you think someone would benefit. Bye.